19. Pottery and Textiles. Let's learn about pottery. Potter's wheel. Uses of clay pots. Clothes. Textiles. Hi Radhika, do you know what can we make with wet clays? Yes, Mihika, we can make mugs, pots, statues, and many other objects from wet clay. Pottery. Early men never stayed at one place. They were nomads. When they started practicing agriculture, they felt the need for vessels to store grains. They made pots by hollowing the wet clay or by making long snakes of clay and coiling them into shapes of pots. They were put out in the sun or an open bonfire to dry them. Potter's wheel. Wheels have made our lives much easier. A potter's wheel has a round, flat wooden surface that can spin while the potter shapes the wet clay on it. Pottery includes pots, diya, bowls, dishes, etc. Clay is mixed with water to make a dough. Once the dough is kneaded well, it is put on a wheel. The wheel is rotated fast for some time. The potter gives shape to the rotating clay dough. Once the vessel is shaped and is ready, it is separated from the wheel by using a thin wire. The pot is dried in the sun or placed in fire to make it hard. The pots are decorated with different designs. Glazing is done to smoothen the pottery and make it waterproof. Uses of clay pots. Pottery is used for various purposes. In villages, milk is boiled in clay pots. Curd is prepared in earthen pots. Plants are grown in clay pots. And many dishes like kheer and kulfi are cooked in earthen pots to give them a particular taste. We use earthen pots, surahi, and matka to store water in summer. Some people use hookah made of clay in which they burn and smoke tobacco. Diyas that are lit during Diwali are made of clay. Do you know musical instrument called ghatam is specially made clay pot with the narrow mouth. Clothes. Clothes protect our body from the changing weather. Early man covered themselves with leaves, barks of trees, and animal skin. After many years, people learned to make fabric by weaving and knitting, a method of fabric production in which two distinct sets of yarns or threads are interlocked at right angles to form a fabric or cloth is called weaving. Knitting is done on knitting machines. T-shirts, tracksuits, sweaters, shawls, and many other things are knitted. At home, we use knitting needles to knit sweaters, mufflers, and gloves by hand. Textiles. A textile is a material that is woven from yarn. Yarn can be obtained from spinning wool, cotton, etc. Today, textiles are also made from synthetic materials. Textiles are woven and printed and embroidered with different designs. Some popular methods of decorating and dyeing fabrics are dyeing. Dyeing is the adding of color to the textile products like fiber, yarns, and fabrics. It can be done by using natural dyes or synthetic colors. Tie and dye. Tie and dye is a specialty of Rajasthan and is also called bandhani. It is done by tying up some areas of cloth very tightly so that the dye does not reach them. The rest of the cloth is dyed. The tied up area is then opened to get patterns. Block printing. In block printing, wooden blocks are dipped into paint and pressed onto cloth to make patterns. Kalamkari. This involves painting of designs on fabrics with a special pen. The word kalam means pen. Bihar is famous for kalamkari. Embroidery. Embroidery is done by using needle and thread. Threads of different colors are used to create patterns on cloth. Fall work of Jammu and Kashmir, Fulkari of Punjab, and Kanta work of West Bengal are different kinds of embroidery. Do you know the Indian textile industry is the second largest in the world? Ikat. This involves the tying of threads into different colors and then weave them on a loom to obtain a cloth with design. Odisha is famous for ikat. Batik. This involves drawing a design on a piece of cloth and spreading wax over the design and letting it cool. Before it is dipped in color, the wax is broken. Many colors are used in this method. Words to remember. Needed. Making dough with the hands. Yarn. Spun thread used for knitting, weaving, or sewing. Textile. A type of cloth. Brush up. Objects made out of wet clay are called pottery. A potter's wheel is used to make pots. Steps involved in making pottery are collecting clay, making a pot, shaping, glazing it, and baking. The textile is a material that is woven from yarn. Tie and dye, kalamkari, block painting, embroidery, ikat, and batik are ways to make designs on cloth. Life skills. On the festival like Diwali, always purchase clay products. By this, you will be helping potters who are struggling their living nowadays.